Hi everyone, this is Seb from Kingdom Knights TCG, and today I'm going to be doing an opening of the two, I think now, the best products to get into Cardfight Vanguard with, which are the two of the new starter decks, Zero Tendou and Shiki Otei. These have two starter decks released to go alongside the Skyride manga. These are two of the most prevalent characters in it. This is the main character, Zero Tendou, and it's a Dragon Empire starter deck, and this is Shiki Otei, and this is a Stoicheia starter deck featuring Vagila and Astashion. You haven't read the manga, give it a read, it's pretty good. And we'll get straight into opening it. I think these are really, really good. They come with some really good reprints. There's one, the Zero Tendou one, comes with a reprint of Shenri, a very, very good promo for Dragon Empire, and a reprint of Union in the Sky as a Regulus piece. And if you've been paying attention to the meta at all recently, you're probably familiar with Vagila. And this has just got some support for it. We'll get straight into it. So some of you might be thinking, hasn't Vagila already had a starter deck, the Stardust Blade one? And that is correct. However, in Japan, they never got that starter deck. They got it as like that deck in like a magazine for Koro, which obviously we don't have in English. So they released the Stardust Blade one, and then Japan got this one later on. So in this deck, you get a constructed 50 card deck, you get an energy generator and a like energy tracker. And in it there is the triple rare grade 3 Vagila, and then Astashion the same. The grade 3 for the ride deck is always guaranteed to be in foil, and I'm pretty sure if it's the same as it is in Japan, you're guaranteed to get 2 random foils in the deck. So hopefully we get some good ones. That can include the energy generator as well. So opening it up, we have the deck here. It's got some plastic tabs on it, and going this way. So get the counter, then we'll start off. This is the main grade 3 of the ride deck. This is Rewrite the Star Vagila. So it says, act Vanguard once per turn, you can Energy Blast 3 and choose one of your opponent's raid guards and bind it. And then choose a grade 2 card from your drop zone and call it to raid guard. So specifically grade 2, can't be grade 2 or higher or grade 2 or low, has to be a grade 2. So the ideal target is your Ezoa, which is like the deck's like main rear guard. And then also Vanguard, when he attacks, you can't lost one, choose one of your grade 2 raid guards and stand it. So it's guaranteed 4 attacks, which is very strong. And the grade 2 for the ride deck is Shooting Star Vagila. This says, if you have a formal raid guard, you can reveal the grade 3 Vagila from your ride deck to have him get a crit until the end of that turn. And then when he's rode upon, you can check top 7 for a grade 2, add it to your hand. However, if you rode over him with a Vagila, you can search your deck for a grade 2, so you can find Defensing Roar, you can find your Regulus piece, you can find your order cards which you play in this deck. Very, very strong. And the grade 1 is Rising Star Vagila. So this card says, during your turn it gets plus 2k for each of your raid guards, and then continuous on Vanguard Circle, when you would pay the cost for the ride deck, you can Soul Blast 1 instead of discarding a card. So makes discarding for a deck so much easier. It means you don't have to worry about what to worry about your hand at all, and discarding key pieces, which is very, very good. And just the grade 0, which is just an ordinary Vagila. And then obviously we get the energy generator. So that's it for the ride deck. And going on to the rest of the main deck, you get 3 more copies of Shooting Star Vagila, Star Vagila, sorry, for the Persona ride. Then we get 4 copies of Fambare, which is a grade 3 unit. It says, also when it's placed on rear guard, you can Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your Ezoa named units and this unit, and they both get 5k. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, they get 10k instead. And then front row, end of the turn, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater with Vagila in its name, and you played an ultimate skill card this turn, which is like the sideways order cards, you put this card in Soul and draw a card, and countercharge 1. So, countercharge for the deck, very good, draws you more cards, gets you Soul as well. And then we get 4 copies of this is Ezoa, so he's a vanilla grade 2, however he's 15k base shield and 15k base power, and he has he's a mate unit with Vagila, so you can only play this card if your Vanguard's a Vagila. So it stops it from being put in like random decks where it doesn't belong. And then we get 3 copies of the Inductinate Dragon. So this card says, when it's placed on rear guard from hand, if you have a Vanguard with Vagila in its name, you can Soul Blast 1, check top 7 for a ultimate skill card and add it to your hand and shuffle the deck. And if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Vagila in its name, it gets boost. So it's not bad. You probably are going to cut it though, as most lists in Japan have been doing, and over here as well. Then we get 4 copies. This is a new grade 2 for the starter deck. This is opening of the End N-Wing. So she says, that when she's placed on Rayguard Circle, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater Vergila, you can Energy Blast free, choose one of your opponent's Rayguards and bind it. So it means that with the Rewrite the Star Vergila, that is 2 binds a turn, so very, very good. It's good control, good against Path Saga, she can bind their Trick Moons more effectively. And then when your Rayguard with Ezra in its name attacks, she gets 5k until end of turn, not once per turn as well, importantly. So that means that it'll swing, she'll get 5k, and when it restands and swings again, she'll get another 5k, so she'll have 10k buff overall. And then if you have a grade 3 greater Vanguard with Vergila in its name, she gets 10k power, 10k shield, sorry. So 15k guard is really good. And then we get, here's the reprint of Shenri. So you only get one of it, but this card is very, very good, and it's just nice to have extra copies of it in rotation for people to get hold of. But it says, when it boosts, if your opponent has one less Rayguards, or you played an order card this turn, which is very, very likely, she gets 5k power until the end of that battle, and then at the end of the battle, you put the soul and draw a card. So it gets you soul and draws you a card, which is very much appreciated. We then get 4 of, this is the evolved version of Cosmo, this is Flare Cosmo. So this card says, from drop, when your Ezra card is placed on Rayguard, you can cast one and call this card to back row Rayguard Circle in the same column as it. But if that unit was placed by the ability of your Vergila, you reduce the count loss cost by 1, so you can, with Rewrite the Star, you can Energy Blast free to call the Ezra, and then call this from drop as well into the same column, so you've just created a minimum 23k column. And then his second effect is back row Rayguard Circle. When your Ezra is stood during the battle phase, he stands as well. So it means that you can go with like this. You'll go swing these two, and then swing Vergila, restand the Ezra, and it'll restand this as well. So very good. And as most starter decks do, we get 4 copies of just the generic Perfect Guard. This is not the one with the buff effects, because if you opened Union the Stardust Blade one, you got the Twin Bucklers, but this is the one that doesn't have the good effects. And then we have a reprint of Drag Vader, Dragon Empire Otei, whose additional effect is just choose a Vanguard and restand it. So very good. Get more consistent access to Dragon Empire Otei, even though it seems like he's getting limited more and more as the days go on. And then we get triggers. We get, well, there's 3 crits, 4 draws, 3 fronts, and 4 heals. So that's along with the OT, and that is because, as you see at the back, one of the triple rares that we pulled was the crit, which is a very nice one. I'm very happy to get that. And then, so you get, that is overall 16 triggers with only 3 fronts, which is, I think, fine. I think most lists have been playing fronts. I personally have been playing draws, but personal preference. And then we get 2 copies of one of the ultimate skill cards. This is Stardust Blade. So we've had this one before, so if you don't know what it does, it's just you can't blast 1, you Vanguard to Vergila, you check top 5 and call something, and your Vergila gets the effect of, if your opponent's ability retires it during your turn, you can call a card from deck, and then your Vergila Vanguard gains continuous Vanguard Circle. He gains 3k for every normal unit on the board and the drop, so his number gets up there very, very quickly. Then we get 3 copies, of a new ultimate skill card. This is Blazing Starcross. So this one's actually really, really good. This card says, play this card with Soul Loss 1. If you have Vergila Vanguard, you choose one of your Ezra's and it gets 10k. If your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, it gets red text when it's stood by your Vergila's effect. If you Persona at this turn, or you have your opponent's bind on 3 or more cards, this unit gets a crit. So it means that when your Ezra restands, it'll be at minimum a 25k attacker with an extra crit. That's actually really good as well against, funnily enough, against Blind Mike, because they bind their own cards. And then the Regulus piece is Union of the Sky. So there's a Regulus piece, you can have 1 in a deck. It says, play this card with Cat Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3. You draw a card and remove this card from the game. And then you choose one of your Vanguards and it gets 15k until the end of that battle. And then you may bind a card with the same card name as your Vanguard from your solo drop, and it gets 25k power instead of 15k. Then auto, when it's discarded from your hand while discarding for the ride phase, you can Cat Blast 1, Energy Blast 3, draw a card and remove this from the game. So it can act as like a 5th energy cycler if you need it, which is quite nice. And then the other triple rare that I got, because they're both at the back, was the Inductate Dragon, which is kind of upsetting because you don't play this card. A Shenri or the Energy Generator would have been much better, but that's what you get in the Vergila starter deck. So I'll quickly open the Astashion one, and I'll give you guys what cards I think you should get to improve both of them. So this is the Astashion one. It's used by Shiki Otei, who I won't spoil the manga, but he is like a card shop owner in the manga. So this one I'm actually quite excited for as well. I originally only got these ones for the twin cast, but then I've been playing the deck more and more just because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have the deck, so I may as well get it. And it's actually quite fun. It's very technical compared to the regular one. So you've obviously got your energy counter there, and then we'll get onto the ride deck. But I think I'll explain the ride deck starting with the grade 0 because it'll make more sense as you go along. And I'll also just quickly grab the, where is it? There's a token as well. It's like the deck focuses around, which is this, the blast token. So the grade 0 is called just a Station, just a regular D series starter. And then the grade 1 is called Legend of Chaotic Dance Station. So it says when it's read upon by the grade 2 Station, you can soul blast the original Station and reveal the grade 3 Station from your ride deck, and you create a blast token, which is one of these. So it says continuous, this unit cannot move to other circles, and if your Vanguard is a Station, this in its card name, it gets all the following effects. So it cannot be affected by any of your opponent's effects. Act Rayguard once per turn. You can put 2 or more cards, up to 3 other Rayguards, face up as this card's plant gauges and draw a card. And then you can continuous during your turn. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, all of your front row Rayguards get 5k power, and for every 3 gauges, that's for every 3 gauges. So ideally you call this on turn 2, so you want to eat 3 Rayguards, and then next turn eat 3 more Rayguards, so then your front row is getting a 10k buff, which is really, really good, and you'll be drawing a card every time you eat 3 Rayguards. So the grade 1 creates you the token, and the grade 2 is Legend of the Raging Skies Station. So this says when it's placed by riding from the Legend of Chaotic Dance Station, search your deck for 1 Vital Blaze Blast, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle the deck. So that's the order card for this deck. I'll get into what it does later on. And the grade 3 for the ride deck is Legend of Celestial Fury Station. So he has 2 effects. He has Act Vanguard once per turn. If you have a blast token, when a plant token would be played on Rayguard, by this effect, put it face up as a blast token's plant gauge instead. So that is mandatory. So when you would go to play the plant token from this effect, you have to put it as a plant gauge instead, which you don't really mind because you want to be getting your plant gauge as high as possible. Then it says the rest of the effect is count last 1. You check top, you call a plant token, but it'll go as a gauge when you have the blast token. Then you check top 3 and call something to choose a card from among them and put it into your hand and shuffle the deck. And if you have 6 or more plant gauges, you check top 5 instead of top 3. So it's like, it's very strong. That's like, it's equivalent to like Ever's effect to check top 5 and add something to hand. So it's very, very good. And you don't, just rereading it, you don't have to reveal what card you add to your hand either, which is very important. So you find like a perfect card or like an order card, you can add it to your hand. And none of your cards that you reveal from this have to be shown to your opponent. And his second effect is Auto Vanguard. When he attacks, you discard 2 plant gauges from your blast token, search your deck or drop to 1 blast, which is the name of like the 4 season dragons in this deck, and call 1 of them to Rayguard, and if you search your deck, you shuffle. So very strong, guarantees 4 attacks, again like Vergilla does, and also helps you compress your deck. So then we get in the main deck, we get 3 more copies of Station for Persona Riding. We then get onto the Blast Dragons. So the first one is the Solitario Frio of Absolute Winter, so it's the Winter Dragon. It says when it's placed on Rayguard by a card's ability, if you have 5 or more plant gauges until the end of your opponent's next turn, he can't be chosen by your opponent's card effects, and he gets +1 crit. So when you call him for Station's effect, he'll be doing at minimum about 18k with a crit if you have the plant token, you have enough plant gauges. And then Rayguard in hand, at the beginning of your guard step of a battle, your unit with a Station, its name is attacks, you can put this card into your drop and choose one of your attacks units, and he gets 10k. So like a free 10k shield, which is really, really strong. It helps you stay alive, not much really else to say. But I think most lists either aren't playing this one or are cutting it down to like 1 of, which I'm doing. Just because the crit pressure is nice for playing like 1 of it, because you can loop it. It's really good. The next one is Ignacio of Blazing Summer. So this is the Summer Dragon. This one says, this is one of the better dragons as well. It says when it's placed on Rayguard by a card's ability, if you have 3 or more plant gauges, choose one of your opponent's Rayguards, and until any of your opponent's next turn, that unit cannot intercept and cannot stand during the stand phase. So very good. It just stops the number of attacks that they can do. Importantly though, if they have another effect that can stand it outside of the restand phase, it can stand by that. And then Rearguard and Guardian Circle, if your Vanguard is a Station, and you have a blast token on your rear guard, he gets 5k power and 5k shield. So he's at minimum 50k attacker, and he's going to be a 10k shield. So that is the Summer Dragon. The next one is the Autumn Dragon, which is this guy. This is Granorindo, or something like that, of Daybreak Autumn. So he says in drop, when your plant gauge is put during your main phase, if you have a Vanguard with Stash on it, then you can cat last one and call it from drop. So it revives itself, so it helps you build the board much more easier. And then when it's placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard with Stash on its name, you create a plant token. So easily creates a board. Importantly, however, if you eat this for the blast token, it doesn't go to drop, it goes underneath it as a gauge. You don't have to discard it with a Stashion's effect to get it back into the drop. And then the last of the season dragons is the Spring Dragon, who says if you have Vanguard with Station in its card name, you can Energy Blast free and call a plant token to rear guard. And then when he boosts, if you have 6 or more plant gauges, this unit gets 2k. So he's a minimum 10k booster on turn 3 if you've eaten 3 rear guards for your plant, for your last token, on both your first grade 2 and grade 3 turns. But not terrible. And then the one reprint we get in this is Philander. So this takes up a slot of Shenri in the Vergilla starter deck, and it says when it's placed on rear guard from hand, check top 5 and bin something, and then shuffle your deck. And if there's 10 more cards in your drop, he gets 10k, so he's at minimum an 18, so he'll be an 18k booster. If you have 10 more cards in drop, so not terrible, but you don't really play it in a Station. You play it more on things like Night Rose and Zorga. We then get just 4 perfect guards. These are the ones without the good effects, so you'll replace these later on. And then we get 3 copies of, I think, one of the best reprints for this deck especially, is the Burrow Mushroom. This is a 4 of in the deck. You have to play this card. This card is insane. It says act rear guard. You should put it to soul and create 2 plant tokens. And if you have a grade 3 Great Vanguard with Grand 3 in its name, one of your rear guards gets 5k until the end of the turn, so that part won't matter. It's just the fact you can call it, shove it to soul, and create 2 plant tokens. So that's the majority of your rear guards to feed to your token done. And then for the triggers, we get a reprint of Elder Breath, which is very, very nice. We get 4 of a crit, 4 of a draw, 3 fronts, and 4 of, I think, the best art of a heal trigger in Stoicheia. So none of our triggers, as you can see, were going to be triple rare because we had all of them sat there. And then we get 4 copies of the Vital Blaze Blast. So this is the order card for the deck. It says player's card Soul Blast 1 if you have Vanguard with Stash on its name. You put this card face up as a blast token gauge, and then you check top 5 and call something and shuffle your deck. If you didn't call something, you call a plant token to rear guard circle, and then when this card is a plant gauge and is discarded during your turn, when your blast unit gets 5k. So this way of pumping up your rear guard's powers as you're multi-attacking. Very good. You definitely need to be playing 4 of that. And then we get 1, but I saw it at the back. You get 2 copies of Ghost Chase, which is a good card. It's played in Night Rose. You don't have to play it in a Station because you want to be playing this every turn. But Ghost Chase, not terrible. Card from set 1. You choose one of your units, gets 5k at the end of battle. You choose one of your rear guards being attacked, and not being attacked, and turn it to your hand. So it's a blitz order. There's a free 5k shield, and you can ping things like PGs back to your hand if you can revive them, which this deck can't really, but other decks can. And then we get the reprint of Twincast, which is very, very loved. So one of the best generic Regulars pieces being reprinted, we'll love to see. You then get a bunch of plant tokens. This is a new art of plant tokens, like Forest Ashshot, and then I've seen it then, very, very exciting. I got a triple rare, the Energy Generator, which is absolutely amazing. That is really, really pretty. That's going right in my Youthberg deck. So then I'll show you quickly what cards I think you should get to basically improve the decks. So for the Vergilla starter deck, I think the most important thing to pick up first is, before you get anything else, is getting effect triggers, so either the draws or the fronts, and good effect PGs. I'll quickly grab one to show you what they look like. So this is the one for Dragon Empire. I think getting good PGs is more important than anything else. I think you get these before you get Alpha Knights, before you get your Variance Rays, before you get anything else. Make sure you have the better triggers that get you shield and the better PGs, because these will be the things that stop you from dying in a game. These will win you more games, or like these will stop you losing games more than Alpha Knights will win you games, I think. Then after that, absolutely make sure you're picking up 4 copies of Alpha Knights from the Festival Collection, and the Dragon Empire Ace units. And then you also definitely need to pick up Nermans, which find your grade 3s and get power when you bind things, and Variance Ray, which is I think the most expensive part of the deck, but is definitely needed. From the drop you can bind it and give your Ezreal for the turn, it can't choose my card effects, and plus 5k power, plus 5k shield. And if your Vanguard's a regular as well, it gets 5k shield. So they're all very important cards to pick up. And then for the Estation one, I think the things you definitely need to pick up are, once again, good PGs and effect triggers. And then you should be picking up definitely the Ace units. I think a card you should be picking up, I don't have them on me, but I'll put a picture of it somewhere hopefully, is Alvina or Diantha, one of those two. Alvina's quite expensive, so if you don't have those or they're out of your price range, get the Diantha instead. It's not as good, but it's like a budget option. Then you could consider getting Harvest Elves, which are from set 9. This is a promo from one of the Skyride mangas. I think this is just like Stoikei's version of T-Fault, so definitely consider picking those up. And then if you want another thing that revives things from drop, you can also consider getting Sephiras. But that's it for like suggestions to help you pick up the deck. But I will show quickly, I have bought 4 of both the starter decks because I needed Shenri reprints. I needed Shenris for my Vigila because I don't own Shenris. And I wanted more twin casts, so I'll show you what foils I got in those because I assume people will want to know. So we'll go through this quite quickly just because I'm not going to go through the entire like deck contents again, but just going to quickly flip through and show what foils we pulled because I'm also curious. So also getting more foils of Rewrite, which is quite nice. So we'll go through. We didn't get another generator because you can see because it's at the front. There's also, I forgot to mention, a chance to get the full deck in foil and also to get a character trigger. So right at the back we got the grade 1 Vigila, which is quite nice. I'm quite glad to have that for my ride deck. And then a foil of Blazing Starcross, which is really good. So I'll put those to one side. Then go to the next one. I can't remember off the top of my head if you can get, is it any trigger with a character on it, but specifically the critical triggers, but I've only seen the crits, so I'm going to assume it's just the crits, but if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. So in this one, right at the very back, we got Shenri. That is absolutely amazing. Very happy about that. And then front, we can just get that out of there, because that is, Shenri is really good, but getting the front is really not great because there are fronts of effects that are actually important. I do also intend to at some point do deck profiles for both of these post starter deck. I'm planning to play Vigila for our Vanguard Day event on Friday, so if that goes well, I'll do a deck profile for it. So we got Fanbare, which is really good, and another energy generator. What can I say? I am just talented. Absolutely amazing foils from Vigila. Let's see if Estation is just as caring. I hope we don't get a bunch of like PGs or something like that. I want something good, like the Blast token. I think you can get in foil, that'd be quite nice. Or like the one of the dragons, or the Blast Order. So we got a heal. I'm very happy. This is my favorite artwork of heals for Stoikea because I really like the colors and how all the colors in it. And we get the Summer Dragon, which is quite good. This is one of the better dragons in the deck, so getting that in foil is very much appreciated. I will double check as well. I don't think we got the crit in foil, because I assume that would be at the back. Yeah, none in that one. I'll double check as well just for the Vigila ones. I'm pretty sure, just so you know, the crits, I'm pretty sure the crits are at the back. Like if they were foil, they'd be at the very back. So yeah, I don't think we got the crits in foil, no. None for 0 anyway, so we could still get a Shiki foil crit, which is would be very nice. But if you read the Skyride manga, please let me know what you think of it. I've been loving it. I bought them for filias and for the promos originally, but I was like, I'll just read it anyway, just to see what it's like. So we got a summary, the Spring Dragon, and we got Freudian slip. We got Bless Favor in triple rare foiling. So for those of you who want to know, yes, you can get the over triggers in triple rare, which is really nice. So I'll put them here to show you which ones we got from the extra free. And this is the last one. Still a chance to pull the full deck in foil or to pull a crit trigger. So let's see what we get. We got counter, we got a front, which is kind of unfortunate, and we got an Autumn Dragon, which is quite nice. And then did we get a crit? We did not appear to, unfortunate, but I think after getting 2 foil energy generators and getting the Shenri in foil, I think I'm definitely happy. So that's it for this video. So thank you for watching. I hope this encourages you to either start playing the game or pick up these starter decks yourselves or read Skyride. But yeah, thank you for watching and have a nice day.